And so I want you for tomorrow also to go back and pull out your old tests and have those ready to kind of go over. And those are going to be kind of our study guide for the final. So I do the same thing. I pull the old tests out that we've taken and see what kind of questions from there I want to put onto the final. And then I think of anything else. So we'll do some stuff from this chapter, and then there'll be some stuff from our previous chapter tests. So going back and flipping through the book, just kind of looking through the chapters, looking through the vocab, getting an idea of what did we do, practicing some problems. Remember, to study for math tests, you have to practice. You can't just read. You have to practice it. So there we have it. In a week, you'll be free. I'll be free. It'll be great. Only if you're sitting at a 60% right now.
Oh, really?
What? So the final is about 20% of your grade. So it is a good portion. It can drop you, but again, hopefully, majority of the time, the final is pretty consistent to what your other test grades have been and homework grades. So that is a warning, but it's also just a challenge for you. Next Monday and Tuesday. Okay, so we'll start at Monday, and then we'll finish it on Tuesday. That way we have 2 days to do it. I'll try to it's going to be similar in length to a normal test. I just want to make sure we have time to finish it, especially Tuesday, because a lot of us are leaving earlier for the games on Tuesday. So we have a game on Tuesday at Hope. Hope we win. Hope, Kansas.
You don't like
that's Rural Vista. You haven't truly lived until you've seen Hope, Kansas. Okay, so solving quadratics, we're going to have 2 types today. It's just Abe, Christian, don't worry about it. So let's say we have x squared minus 36 equals 0, and x squared minus 5x minus 36 equals 0. What's the difference between these two? What does this one have that this one doesn't? 5x. What is the name? Test your memory there. That is the b. I'll tell you, the x squared was the quadratic term. This one was it is the bx. That's what makes it if you cover up the quadratic, you have a linear equation, so that's a linear term. The constant was the c, that's constant. I told you the answer there. Remember, quadratic term, linear term, constant. So this one on the right has a linear term. The one on the left, does it have a linear term? Does it have just an x? Something with just an x? Just an x, not an x squared. No. This one has no linear term. So we're going to approach these 2 different ways, and that's because this one on the left is going to be easier to solve the way we're going to do it. So we're going to say on the one on the left, we're going to solve for the x squared and then we're going to use a square root, because a square root undoes a square. They're inverses of each other. There will be 2 answers, so you have to remember there's going to be 2 answers here. So go back. Solving for x squared means we have to do what with the x squared minus 36 equals 0? Not yet. There we go. Heard it. Ooh. So if you solve for something, that means you get that something by itself. So if we solve for the x squared, that means what has to move across the equal sign? 36. So I get x squared equals 36. Is the x squared by itself? So now what we're going to do is square root both sides. The square roots cancel off. So the square root cancels off the squared. I'm left equals square 36 is 6. Now I said it'd be 2 and where is the second answer? What's that? A double root? What do you say? Okay. Well, no, what do you say? So x equals 6. Okay. That hasn't completely solved for the equation yet because we have to have two different values for x. So not two different values for x squared. So let's try a little bit of common sense. What other number do you square to get positive 36?
Oh, negative 6.
What's negative 6 times negative 6? 36. So what we do, there's a sign called a plus or minus sign, and we go plus or minus 6. So x equals plus or minus 6. So whenever you take square roots, whenever you square root an equation, your answer will be plus or minus. Okay, you have to use that sign plus or minus. That represents a positive and a negative answer. What about we'll have to do that. 5 plus x squared equals 54. Five plus x squared equals 54. So is there a linear term? Where's that at, Dawson? Is there an x with 5? Nope. So is there a linear term? No. So we can solve for the x squared. And you get x squared equals? X squared equals? You jumped ahead of me there, that's fine. 49. So x equals, not just 7, positive negative 7. Let's do fractions. 4x squared minus 1 equals 80. 4x squared minus 1 equals 80. Is there a linear term? No. So what they're checking for, does anything have an x? No, it's just x squared and constants. So add the 1 over. 4x squared equals 81. Now, does 81 easily divide by 4?
No.
But what do you know about the numbers 81 and the numbers 4? Do they both have square roots?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you have a fraction like this and you take the square root, you just take the square root of all the numbers. So if it's a fraction, you just take the square root of the top, square root of the bottom. So you get x equals a positive and negative and a half. Okay. So fractions and square root, both top and bottom. Okay, the final one of these is when you can have no solution. And let's say we have 3 minus 4x squared equals 19. So when you solve for x squared, what do you get? X squared equals what? Almost. No. Don't try to jump ahead. When you solve for x squared. So x squared equals what? So you minus the 3, right? Did you minus the 3?
Negative.
That gives you 16. And then you divide by negative 4. That gives you negative 4. Alright. So what number can you square to get a negative number?
You can't make roots of a negative number.
Not yet.
None. No square the same number.
Okay.
No solution.
So this one right here, since x squared is always positive, if you get to this point right here, you're going to put no real solution. Now, I'm going to be picky. I want that word real in there. No real solution. Because here's my hook to get you back. Come back in January. When we come back in January, we are going to learn about imaginary solutions.
Oh.
And there's actually an answer to that question right there. There is an answer, but it's kind of in the complex number plane, so you have to use imaginary roots. You know how we have roots and solutions and zeros? All what we've been doing so far is complex or real. There's a whole another half of numbers out there called the complex numbers, which involve imaginary numbers. And it all centers around being able to find an answer to x squared equals negative 4. Actually, x squared equals negative 1 is the more common. Okay. Complex numbers we're going to cover a little bit. If you're going into electrical engineering, you'll probably need them. Other than that, once you get through college algebra, you'll be fine. Done with them. Be honest, that's that. I'm just kidding. Unless you're an algebra teacher.